broken promise. Trump GOP Congress give Planned Parenthood $500 million in taxpayer funds. That is not something that conservative Republicans voted for, is it? President Donald Trump, congressional Republicans broke their promise to conservative voters by giving Planned Parenthood approximately $500 million in taxpayer funding in the omnibus bill that Trump signed into law today. Trump, Speaker of the House Paul Ryan, and other Republican leaders promised their voters for years that they would defund Planned Parenthood if given the chance to govern. But now, with Republican majorities in the House and Senate and a Republican in the White House, the nation's #1 killer of unborn children will continue receiving hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer funding.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
We're live on the 4th hour of the Alex Jones Show on this Friday edition. Now, obviously, there's been huge fallout over the signing of this budget bill, which happened just over an hour ago in the White House. Absolute revolt in many quarters amongst Trump's base that he signed this package, that it basically devotes very little money to the border wall along the Mexican border, while devoting significantly more money to border walls in places like Jordan, places like Tunisia, all over the world, which have nothing really to do with the security of United States citizens domestically. Going through some of the responses that we've seen to this in the past hour, Mike Cernovich tweets, obviously a regular guest on the show, I've revised my odds that Trump will be impeached from 5% to 35%. They're saying the fury is so intense over this that people are going to be turned off, people are going to become disenfranchised, and the Democrats are going to win the House later this year. There you see Cernovich's first tweet. He also tweeted this: congratulations to my liberal friends, you are getting Congress back. I hope your party does more for you than real Donald Trump has done for his supporters. So that is, you could call it strident criticism if you were being negative about it. You could call it throwing toys out of the pram. But this is the sentiment amongst basically all of Trump's base, all of Trump's most prominent base, at least in terms of media. Jack Posobiec tweets, have spoken to many high-profile Trump supporters today after bill signing. Not a single one of them think GOP will keep the House now. So they think because of this, the momentum has been completely stopped. Everybody's irate over it. And this is going to cost the GOP the House later this year, which obviously opens up at least the potential for impeachment. There's a headline up on Infowars.com right now. Trump base revolts over signing of budget bill. This is the day that the swamp won. And it goes through more reaction from more prominent pro-Trump people on Twitter. Mark Pantano tweeted this. March 23rd, 2018. This is the day the swamp won. Trump surrendered. Ann Coulter, who, of course, has been hot on the case of the border wall for over a year now, very critical of Trump at every step of the way. She tweeted this, quoting Trump, who said, I will never sign another bill like this again. She said, yeah, because you'll be impeached. That is the level, that is the visceral, vitriolic level of feedback, of reaction to the signing of this bill. She followed up with another tweet. Remember, this is Ann Coulter. She got millions of followers, big conservative following. She tweeted this. Massive defense spending to induct transgenders and build big, beautiful walls in Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, and Tunisia. So, again, the bill devotes more money to these walls in Tunisia, in Jordan, to stop ISIS getting into Jordan in one case, than it does the US-Mexico border wall. We're also going to go to another story soon about how it actually disqualifies Trump from using the types of wall that he visited, that he went down to the border to visit just days ago. He's also not getting the 1,000 ICE agents that he wanted out of this bill. He's getting absolutely nothing out of this bill. He threatened to veto it. He signed it anyway. People are absolutely apoplectic. They're furious. Stefan Molyneux tweets this. It might be my memory, or maybe I'm just getting hard of hearing, but I don't recall chants of dramatically increase military funding and protect dreamers at Trump's campaign events. Another irate, angry reaction from Stefan Molyneux that, I mean, I put in the article, it was a mixture of deep disappointment and outrage. It's mainly outrage, to be honest with you. Another Jack Posobiec tweet here. If the bill is all about military funding, why not just do a clean military funding bill? Instead, it's got all this pork barrel. It's got all this funding for all these ridiculous projects, many of which Trump supporters never signed on for in the first place. In fact, they demanded the opposite. Trump promised it, and now they're getting the opposite of what he promised. Of course, Matt Drudge had the headline up, fake veto. That's his top story. This story is out of Daily Caller. Broken promise. Trump GOP Congress give Planned Parenthood $500 million in taxpayer funds. That is not something that conservative Republicans voted for, is it? President Donald Trump and congressional Republicans broke their promise to conservative voters by giving Planned Parenthood approximately $500 million in taxpayer funding in the omnibus bill that Trump signed into law today. Trump, Speaker of the House Paul Ryan, and other Republican leaders promised their voters for years that they would defund Planned Parenthood if given the chance to govern. But now, with Republican majorities in the House and Senate and a Republican in the White House, the nation's number one killer of unborn children will continue receiving hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer funding. Chuck Schumer's happy about it. Nancy Pelosi's happy about it. Lindsey Graham's over the moon. Now, if you're impressing those kind of people, if those kind of people are fawning over you, something has gone decidedly wrong and people are pointing it out. Immediately after this happened, CNS News reports Congressman had 1,000 minutes to read 2,232-page bill. You saw Rand Paul complaining about this vehemently last night. The stack was, what was it, like that big, like 2 feet, 3 feet tall, just the bill alone. They had 1,000 minutes to read it. None of them read it. They just passed it anyway. Members of the House of Representatives had 1,000 minutes overnight. Some of them probably didn't even read a page of it to read a 2,232-page bill that spends $1.3 trillion. And it gets more into that. So absolute rancor over this budget bill. GOP and Democrats, this is Breitbart, GOP and Democrats fully fund a border wall. That's great, right? No, it's not. It's in Jordan. It's not on the Mexico border. The 2018 omnibus bill provides just enough funds to build 33 miles of fencing on the Texas border. So you saw Trump come out after he signed this bill and say, look, this is a start. This is a first step. This will fulfill short-term funding for the border wall. But it will pay for 33 miles of fencing. This is not even the proper border wall that he asked for. It's not the border wall he went and visited, or the prototypes for it, a few days ago. And the headline on that is Spending Bill Trump banned from building border wall with prototypes he toured in San Diego. So this bill specifically bans President Trump's Department of Homeland Security from building new border walls and fencing with the prototype designs the president's most recently visited. So those huge walls that you saw that actually would keep people out, unlike the miles of pointless fencing that went up under George W. Bush and other presidents, that has now been banned by Trump signing this bill. Why do you think people are furious about this? So you've got 33 miles of fencing. That's paid for, $1.6 billion. Beyond that, nothing. Absolutely nothing. But Jordan, on the other hand, let me look at this. What is this? $500 million of funds appropriated for a border wall in Jordan. They've also got walls in Syria, walls in Tunisia, Lebanon, Egypt, Tunisia, to stop Islamic State militants transferring between those countries. So Jordan gets 500 million. These other countries get hundreds of millions. So actually, I think it equates to more money being sent abroad, these border walls in Middle Eastern countries, than the border wall in the United States, which was a centerpiece of Donald Trump's campaign. Now you see why people are angry about this. Spending bill does not fund 1,000 new deportation agents Trump requested. Again, out of Breitbart, the omnibus spending bill passed by Republicans today does not fund the 1,000 new immigration and customs enforcement agents that President Trump requested last year. It only funds an additional 65 ICE agents. He got 65 out of 1,000. That cannot be called anything other than a failure, than a disaster, and people are angry. We'll be back to talk more about it on the other side. This is the Alex Jones Show Live, Infowars.com.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
So we have even right there.
What's his name?
This is an emergency transmission from FEMA Region 6 in occupied North America.
is a war. It's happening now. It will decide the fate of humanity. The time to choose sides has come. We are the resistance. We are the info war.
The globalists are losing, but they're doubling down their attacks. There's one thing they fear, and it's people power. InfoWars has defeated their censorship so far only because of you spreading the links, spreading the articles, subscribing, clicking the notification buttons, and getting the articles and videos out. But they are intensifying their censorship, so now it's more important than ever to ensure we keep the First Amendment alive and well right here in America and free speech worldwide. So from Australia to countries in Africa, to Europe, to Mexico, to right here in the USA, I salute you all for taking action and defending free speech. We will prevail.
Nourish a probiotic-friendly environment in your gut with prebiotic fiber by InfoWars Life. Help the good bacteria thrive and support overall digestive health with our specially formulated prebiotic fiber, a mixture of clinically studied and organic acacia, fruit, and flax fiber. Prebiotic fiber is soluble fiber that ferments in the gut to help feed good bacteria, which helps you digest food, absorb nutrients, and even support your immune system. InfoWars Life's cutting-edge formula only brings you the highest quality, organic, and clinically studied ingredients. Cheap prebiotic fibers are used up only at the beginning of the colon, but our premium organic acacia fiber is slowly digested by the good bacteria throughout the entire colon for maximum prebiotic effect. Head to InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.